Hi everyone, Stepan here. Today I'm going to show you my last two games from the Vrsar Open. Sorry that the video came a bit later today. I'm actually still not home. I just came back to Zagreb from a trip I took over the weekend, and now I'm at my parents' place and about to go to my sister's birthday party. So I'm in their kitchen, and yeah, sorry about the light and the clock noises, and my mom is cleaning, so you may hear that as well. Anyway, I'll show you my last two games from from Vrsar, and one story I have to tell you is, well, in the first four games I played, I had 4 wins, so I had a good start to the tournament. However, since I haven't participated in the first 3 rounds, or I missed the first 3 rounds because I had to take my driving test, I was playing low-rated opponents in all 4 games. And in round 8, I got paired against Eva Mihaljevic. I think I've played her last year in Vrsar. I had the white pieces and I managed to win. But this tournament, she had, well, I think she won the prize for the best female player, and she was having an amazing tournament. She defeated an Austrian FIDE master. She defeated a couple of 2000 players, although I'm not sure which, but she had, what's that, 4 out of 7, which is pretty good considering that she's 1800. Okay, so round 6 and 7 were played the day before this one, and it was double round day. And then finally, when round 7 finished, we came back to the house and we were all discussing the games, eating dinner, and ate some eggs, and I had some other stuff. And then I started feeling incredibly sick. Long story short, I was throwing up the entire night and I fell asleep at 7 a.m. The game was scheduled for 9 a.m. So you can imagine that I didn't feel human at all. I got some sort of food poisoning and I just couldn't see anything. The next day I didn't want to play, but I decided to play anyway. I didn't want to be a coward, and I was hoping to get a position which would involve no calculation, because intuitively you can play when you had no sleep and when you threw up 12 times in 10 hours. But yeah, I actually tried to calculate some lines during the game, but I just couldn't. Okay, so we got the Caro-Kann, and I went for the Karpov, and we got this line which seems to be getting more popular, at least against me. This line with taking and knight e5. Now, after the game, Eva told me that she was expecting bishop f5. I've never actually played bishop f5 in that variation, at least not in a tournament game. I actually played this very recently against IM Branko Vujakovic, and I played bishop e6 in that game as well. This is the main move, and the idea is, well, of course, you want to go g6 and bishop g7 and fianchetto. And also there's some pressure on the queen side. Most importantly, it's very hard to go queen b3, which could be annoying in many Caro-Kann variations after either c4 or c3. Also, sometimes this rook has a hard time coming to d1, even though b3 is an option, because in most lines c3 has to be played before bishop d3, because the knight isn't on f3 supporting the pawn on d4. So the bishop on e6 is an annoying piece. You have to play c3 to play bishop d3 because the knight isn't on f3. Once you do that, you cannot play b3 trapping the bishop if bishop takes a2. Therefore, this rook cannot move. But that's not the main idea. As I said, the idea is you want to be able to develop this bishop without incurring any weaknesses. Okay, bishop e2. This is all standard castles. Bishop g7, c3. Now you could also play c4. I actually think c4 is more annoying to play against, but I've never faced it in a tournament game, maybe once. I castled, now she surprised me. I still know this position, I have prep in this position, and I've never seen bishop f3. But it's a logical move. This bishop isn't too active. And what she's trying to do, she's trying to dominate this diagonal, of course, putting pressure on c6. So I should probably exchange this bishop off. I should probably go bishop d5. And that was my first candidate move, but then the whole idea behind my opening makes very little sense, and I think the position should be very, very equal. And even though I was tired and I couldn't see anything, I didn't want to draw. If I could avoid it, I wanted to try and win because I was having a great tournament and I wanted to have 5 wins in a row and hopefully finally get to play someone stronger in the last round. So I didn't play bishop d5. So if I go bishop d5, for example, then let's say rook e1, I take on f3, getting rid of this strong bishop. And the logical follow-up I could see is queen d5, where if we trade queens and I take with the c-pawn, maybe I do have some minority attack ideas, especially with this bishop over here. And my idea would be to go b5, b4, but I don't think that's enough to win. So I didn't go bishop d5, and I thought maybe I'll have some chances later. Now, in hindsight, that was a stupid idea. Reducing the amount of material would have helped me to play intuitively without calculation. So I ended up playing queen b6. I don't really like queen b6 now, and the engine agrees queen b6 isn't a good move. The engine says knight d7 I think is best, which makes sense, again trading pieces. It's possible to go knight d3 I think, but probably she would have traded, and on queen d7, again, this should be about equal. Maybe bishop f4, although I'm not sure. So I played queen b6, and queen b6, well, I'm trying to develop my pieces and get a rook to d8. It's not about the b2 pawn, because knight d3 can be played, and if you've seen my game against Branko Vujakovic, then you'll know that fight for the c5 square was one of the main themes in that game. So Eva played knight d3 here. I went rook a8, which was my plan. She went rook e1, which is okay. And here I tempted her into, well, I think I would have done this if I were her. So I played rook f8, and I was expecting rook e6. And I couldn't figure out what the evaluation should be. I knew that white has compensation after this rook or exchange sacrifice, and that it was annoying for black. I'll show you what I intended to play. So I'll tell you the engine evaluation for this sacrifice later. So I was looking at rook e6, f6 of course, and now queen e2. This was my idea. And I was going to go e5. And I was expecting knight e5, against which I would have played knight d5. And I thought, well, I'm not sure who's better here. Maybe white is better, maybe black is better. I have no idea. It's very hard to evaluate these exchange sacrifices where obviously this knight cannot be dislodged without giving up this dark squared bishop, which isn't something I would like to do. And I have a ton of weak squares. So if I had to choose, I would probably be white here, which is why I said that if I were her, I'd have taken. She didn't take. And again, I couldn't evaluate this, but I thought if she does take, well, then I have some winning chances. It's imbalanced. I mean, maybe she will win, but I may win. So I gave her the opportunity to do that because I honestly couldn't say who is better. Now the engine says, let me just see. The engine says after rook takes e6, it's 1 plus 1.2. So white should be better by about a pawn. So it's not a big deal. I mean, white is better, but the engine evaluation here, I think, doesn't mean that much. It's practically very complicated for both sides. If I activate my rooks, I can even sack the exchange back if I have a good opportunity to do so. In any case, I played rook f8 because I wanted to imbalance the position. She played knight c5, which is also good. And now I can again go bishop d5, trading pieces, but I don't want to do that, so I played bishop c8, which I think is okay. And she played queen b3, and I spent a ton of time here. Again, my sleepless mind was too stupid to see more than a move in advance. To be honest, I just couldn't visualize anything. I tried at several points to calculate something, but it was so hard. Not only was I tired and sleepless, but I was completely exhausted. I don't know if you ever threw up like 12 times during the night, but I was completely exhausted. So what I was looking at here is, well, queen b3 I never want to take. That I discarded immediately, activating the rook, because I can never go a6, weakening the b7 pawn and the c6 pawn. The other thing I was looking at was e5, and I wasn't sure how to evaluate this. This was very tough. This is how far I got. Rook e5, d5, queen c5, ef6, bishop f6. I got this far and I wasn't sure if I'm visualizing everything correctly. And then I saw bishop e3 and I stopped looking at this. And I wasn't happy with this position. I thought white was better. Now that I see it in front of me, it's equal, but okay. And then I was looking at e5. And if instead of rook e5, white just plays bishop g5, and then I just gave up. At this point, that was too much for me. And I just gave up on e5, which was the only active move. So I played queen c7 after a long think. I mean, I tried e5 several more times, but I just couldn't do anything. Okay, again, here white has a couple of options. She played g3, which I'd expected. The one thing that I feared was bishop g5, which the engine actually says is the best move, because now I don't have any good moves, and I wasn't sure what to do. Now, of course, e5 is very hard to play. If I play e5, then d5, sorry, rook e5, and knight e4 is tough. And I saw something like this. But I told myself, well, if she plays bishop g5, you're going to calculate this. And I didn't get... I got to about here. And now, when I had the position over the board in my analysis, I found the move rook f5, and the engine says black is fine. But I'm not sure I would have seen any of that, or found rook f5 in the actual game. Okay, she played g3. And now I played knight d5. She played knight d3, challenging the f4 square. I played knight d5 to prevent bishop f4, of course. Bishop f5. I don't have any other sensible moves, I think. She played knight f4, and now I could go knight f6, declining the trade, because the knight is coming, the bishop is coming to f4 if I do trade. But I actually wanted to play e5. And I ended up playing knight f4. She took bishop f4. And I almost played e5 instantly without any calculation because I saw it worked. I saw that I don't lose material, but I couldn't assess the position. And I knew that I could be losing the b7 pawn, but I wasn't sure white can take it. And I saw the position with queen b7 and rook d2. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But it was all blurry and hazy, and so e5, d5, bishop e5. She could take with the rook or with the bishop. I take regardless. So let's say bishop, well, sorry, bishop takes, rook takes, queen takes, and now queen b7. I saw this, and I thought, okay, I could go rook d2. And after the game, I told her that's the only thing I wanted to play, but I just couldn't. I admitted to her that I was just tired and blind, and I told her I just couldn't figure out if rook d2 is good. Do I have any compensation or not? And she said, I don't know. And I said, I don't know either. And then we discussed it the next day a bit. And she told me that it was a bad position for black. Obviously, I didn't look at the game that day. I just went to sleep after the game. But I actually found one idea here. I don't play rook d2 straight away. I go a5. And this was interesting. I don't give up the a7 pawn, because if I go rook d2, then queen a7 defends on f2. So I don't have any tempi. But if instead I go a5, so the queen doesn't take, and let's say queen takes c6. Now rook d2 is a bit more interesting. If queen b6, I'm still not losing the pawn. I can try h5, h4. And I'm not saying black is better here, but it's a way to play for a win, which is what I wanted originally. And had I been rested, I would have gone for this. So I couldn't figure out e5, so I ended up playing queen d7, which is basically a draw offer. I'm going to go bishop e6 next, and there is no way, I think, for me to make progress. The only chance I'm giving her is to sack the rook, the exchange back. She went rook ad1, and I went bishop e6 and offered the draw, and she accepted. I was happy with the draw here because I couldn't see how to win. The only thing I could have tried is e5, but again, I couldn't figure it out. And if she wants to decline the draw, then she basically has to play rook e6, which I was hoping she would do. This I could win. So I go queen e6 and she takes on b7. And I was happy with this. For example, if queen takes, then bishop takes. So probably I have to go for this. And after rook f8, maybe queen e7. And this is complicated. I mean, the two bishops are good, but... And she has an extra pawn, but I think both sides could win this position. In any case, she didn't go for this. Okay, and then in round 9, I got paired against my friend, and we were staying in the same house, So Damian, who I'm playing in this game, and I faced him before and we drew the game. And also Milan, my friend from Serbia, the FIDE master, was staying with us. Vlatko was staying with us, Grandmaster Fercet. So a bunch of us were there analyzing all the games every day. And yeah, since I was tired and beat, and I had a bunch of stuff going on before the tournament, and I arrived late and I was tired and I had food poisoning and stuff, I was kind of hoping for a quick draw. And we did draw quickly. I played c4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, g3. This is the two knights English now. And we got the Smyslov line, or the Smyslov variation, which is a very drawish line, very dry, and most games actually end in a draw. So d5, cd, cd, ed, knight d, knight e2, castles, d4. This is a well-known line that goes, I think, 20 moves deeper than this. E takes, queen takes, bishop e6, castles, and here he played knight c6 and offered the draw. I think we both knew we were gonna draw the game. I mean, I really didn't want to fight, and I think he didn't want to fight either. I just wanted to get some sleep. Yeah, here black could go queen c5, white could, go queen c5, and in the database there are a million games from here. Like, there are 41 games, 40 games were drawn from this position, so it's a pretty boring line. It should be equal. So unfortunately, I mean, in this game, who knows what would have happened if we both wanted to win very badly. I'm not sure. I think either of us could win, which we actually agreed was true. But I'm sorry about game 8. Although Eva is a strong opponent, I'm sorry that I wasn't rested and up to, well, my usual standards and able to play and calculate normally. So had I managed to play well in round 8 and had I won round 8, then I would have gotten paired against a stronger opponent in round 9, probably Milan, who is 2300, or there were a couple more FIDE masters in the tournament, even some grandmasters whom I could have played. But yeah, that was the Vrsar Open. It was a good tournament anyway, 4 wins, 2 draws. The last 2 draws were, like, one was 20 moves, the other was 12 moves, so they weren't really fighting games, but again, I think I had a good excuse. I think Eva should have beaten me considering my state of mind, so I think, I bluffed my way through the game. I tried to look confident and rested. I don't think it worked though. Yeah, in any case. Yeah, my next tournament is coming up in 2 weeks, a bit more. Until then, I'll try to do some theory, some training games, maybe some endgame and middle game stuff, and also some game analysis. If you have any suggestions for videos, please leave them down below. I'm going to have a couple of weeks without a recording schedule now, so maybe I can listen to your suggestions. In any case, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye-bye.